Greetings. I am the doctor, and with me is Dr. Tiny. Now, I hadn't been expecting to make another video again so soon. I had a minor surgery last week and have been recuperating, and the others in the castle have been taking over some of my duties, so they haven't had a chance to film either. But sometimes things just happen, and you have to document them. In this case, I found a little mouse in my bathroom. Now, I'm very fond of mice. I think they're very cute, but they do not belong in the castle. So after carefully nudging it out from beneath the cabinet with a stick, and then placing a yogurt container on top, and then sliding a bit of cardboard underneath, about the same way I would capture any sort of small creature, I brought it in here and put the rectangular vase over top so that I could take some pictures. Now, you may ask, if you are so fond of mice, did you hold the mouse? Well, there are temptations to hold a little fuzzy bean, but, well, I do not wish to be bitten by a mouse, and I did not wish to cause the mouse any more trauma than it was already experiencing being captured by a giant and filmed. The mouse is not a very clean mouse, but it was just under my cabinet, which is very, very dusty. And the thickness of the glass walls of the vase and their imperfections and the dust on there were not doing it any favors. I really need to get a better container for the filming of small creatures I find in the castle. But we do our best with what we have. I wanted to get some shots of its little feet, since they are so tiny and delicate, but I was unable to focus the camera that well through the thick glass. I did get some shots of its little ears, which are, just very, delicate looking. I mean, mice in general are quite delicate looking. It looks larger on screen than it is. In real life, its body length was perhaps 4 or 5 centimeters. And then it has, of course, the long tail. Now, we don't usually get mice in the castle unless it is extremely cold out. So it was rather unusual that this one appeared on a fairly mild day in a stretch of fairly mild days. Yes, I did, place some peanuts in the container with the mouse in case, it was hungry, but I expect it was too frightened to eat. And if you can see, I've got a little popsicle stick on one end of the container, so it's propped up a little so that there was, airspace. I don't worry about that with the insects because they're so little, but I wanted to make sure that the mouse would not suffocate. Yes, this mouse seemed to be its fight or flight was stuck on freeze. It did not move around all that much. It mostly just stayed in one place, was not, exploring. That's probably also why it was so easy to capture, because once I nudged it out into the open, it just held still while I put the container over it. So after a short time of filming and photographing this little intruder, I took it out to the courtyard and released it under a tree just to give it a little more chance of, finding shelter quickly. So, I do not know what a mouse's chances are out in the courtyard, but it is probably a better life than being in here and possibly being battered to death by my cat. And that was our little adventure this week. Until next time, stay hydrated.